Might be. And no, we're live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining another industry live slash immersion cruise or immersion summit recap. I am ThatKimberly. Hello, everyone, and thank you for stopping by today. I am super excited to be here and sharing my educational experience while I chat with my fellow multifamily immersion summit ambassador, Marilyn. Say hi, Marilyn.
Hi.
We're going to jump into that conversation in just a sec, but I want to remind everyone that we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, on YouTube, Twitter. So wherever you're watching us, please leave a comment. If you have a question, if you attended this conference, let us know what your takeaway was in the comments. If you watch it on the replay, put hashtag replay and where you watched us from. And I think that's all I need to say. And yeah, well, yeah, all the instructions. So without further ado, my distinguished guest and 40 under 40 winner, Marilyn Rivero, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because when I met you, you were Marilyn something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was single at that point. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a second. Tell the audience a little bit about who you are and just some of your background.
So I am a regional account manager for First On Site. We are a restoration company.
Okay.
So fire, flood, or blood, call me. That's the easiest way to put it. But I did start in multifamily around 18 years ago. I started as a leasing agent and then assistant manager. Actually, my first leasing job I got from Christy Rodriguez, and we worked at Alliance. Yeah.
Shout out, Christy.
So, yeah, she always remembers that. And even in, our interview, there were some funny things that happened, and we still kind of talk about it when I see her every now and then. Mm-hmm.
Well, when I met you, you were a property manager at Q10 as we were competing to be, because we were on the social media, HA social media street team.
Correct.
And you were coming at me fiercely to win.
I'm a little bit competitive. Yes, I think I remember that.
Just a little, but I appreciate that in you.
Yeah, you still beat me. It's fine.
Oh, that's okay. 6 years in the running, but the last 2 years they actually put out with points, so I was quite excited to have that title.
Right.
But I learned a lot.
The only thing that we were missing was actually explaining what our events were about. You know what I mean? Because I know that we would always post a lot of the association events and the galas and all that, but I think definitely what we were missing was kind of an intro to what was being done other than just the party.
Yeah. Well, and also, when it was started, I believe Allison Hall was the president at the time that just wanted to help grow HAA's attendance, help grow, the social media, HAA brand on social media, if you will. Yeah. So that's really, and then it evolved. It definitely evolved over time. So I was just excited to be a part of it. So hopefully we'll always be the HAA street teamers for life, right?
Right.
So thank you for joining me. My co-host is super busy after, her week on the Immersion Summit with me as well. So I appreciate you for jumping in and doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Christy, for joining us. And yes, Monica. She is one of my favorite people too.
Yes, she's my number one hype person. I appreciate and love her so much.
Yes. So tell everyone why you attended this Multifamily Immersion Summit.
Yeah, so I want to say that when the whole idea of the cruise was started,
I was at Q10.
Yeah, I think because that was like 3 years ago. So she's like, I think we need to have something different where we can just have classes and people can enjoy themselves and can kind of just be away from the real world of property management, but still be learning and kind of invest in yourself, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, what better way to do it than in a cruise?
Yeah, because there's no technology.
Yeah. I was like, well, I don't know what, being in a bathing suit is going to look like in front of my peers. You know what I mean?
That's not what Stephanie was talking about.
Exactly. And she's like, well, I didn't even think about that. And I'll, because that's where your mind goes, right? Like, what am I going to wear? What is it going to look like?
Yeah.
And so then it kind of just started developing her idea. She was, she talked to you, she talked to Mindy.
That was 2000 and end of 1920.
Yeah. Yes. Right. For sure. At the beginning of 2020, she's like, I think we already had flyers out and we were already talking about it because this cruise was going to happen September of 2020.
Yes, it was. I remember sitting in a certain restaurant that will remain nameless with you and Stephanie going, I don't know how I feel about a cruise.
Right.
I'll help you promote it, but I don't think I want to attend. And
yes.
Like, no, you have to attend.
Right. And so, to me, it was just, I love to hear Stephanie speak. She's one of my mentors and good friends, and I've learned so much from her throughout the years. So I definitely wanted to be there for support. But then, knowing that Mindy was going to be there and she's now one of the all-stars, and that's a big deal, right? You don't really get to see them on such a small platform like that where, they're starting something new. And
I would like to call that more an inclusive, intimate class.
Yeah. Right. Perfect. Yes. So, to have to, and then you, and then Deborah, like, I don't think we knew up until probably this year who all was going to be on there, but I knew we were going to have good people and I wanted to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah. Stephanie was very mindful about getting people's feedback in the beginning about and sending out surveys about what the classes need to look like with the sessions, with the panel, all of it.
Right.
Very intentional to be able to put it together, as well as, originally, just so there was almost going to be no time in a bathing suit. It was Stephanie's,
well, there really wasn't much time because by the time we got out of the, and that's another thing that I was going to mention, you think of a cruise and you're like, oh my gosh, right? Like, yes, we all got the drink packages and everything, but it was different. I think that going into the classes was from 9 to 4 was a good time. We got a lot out of them. For me, it was kind of like a reset button to where it's the end of the year. I definitely did a lot of goal setting after I got off of it. And I was like, starting, well, not just January, right? But obviously we all want to do it for the new year.
Yeah.
I set some goals for myself and I'm hoping to stick by them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I will be happy to hold you accountable for those that you might have mentioned to me off camera.
Right.
However, but we all need those, those type of accountability, whether it's a partner, an event, or commitment, whatever it is.
Yeah,
we're human.
And that was one of the classes that actually Mindy taught. Like, make yourself accountable by telling other people. I don't know that she meant broadcasting it on live. I don't think she meant that. I don't think she meant that, but yes, I will absolutely choose someone to make me accountable for.
Well, you were very great at promoting your company on, your social media on LinkedIn. You have a great brand. I'm going to give you, shout outs to the fact that you put things out there. You also follow, the suggestions of others, which some of them came from me and some of those suggestions came from Gary Vee, but you comment back to everyone. You promote what you do in your industry and, for your company. And then you also comment and, you don't just like it or you don't avoid, you engage. It's called engagement. And you do a great job of that. So I have to give you
Thank you.
Big kudos. How did you sell it to your company? Because that's definitely from being and I'm going to ask a separate question after this one for the property management side, but for you going to the bright side of, first on site, because now you've been there, 2 years when I met, when I met you, you were a property manager. fierce, wicked property manager, like got stuff done.
Yeah.
And so I can only imagine going to the supplier side and having to go to the powers that be, like, hey, one, I want to take off. Two, I want you to pay for this, because I'm going to be there in full, company gear.
Right.
What, how did you sell that to your
Honestly,
company?
I mean, you mentioned Stephanie Graves to a lot of people, and it becomes very easy very quickly.
Because she's a brand. Because
for sure, absolutely. And she, my boss Don Massey, my general manager, she knows her, and he's met her, and he's a fan too. So I was like, Stephanie's doing this cruise, and it's going to be awesome, and it's the first time, and it's a big deal for whoever's going to be there, right? Which I don't think we actually knew what a big deal it was until we were actually there.
Yeah.
So,
for sure. And I saying that.
and for a minute, I kind of was like, well, they might not pay for it, so I probably won't ask. I'll just do it, on my own, and it's fine. Like, I was convincing myself, and then I was like, you know what? This is going to be something that people are going to want to sponsor in the future, that are going to want to be present, that this is going to matter for the years to come. So I was like, let's see if I can tell it to them, and if they want to be a part of it. And I got no pushback at all. I said, Stephanie Graves, Mindy Pratt, that was a big deal. So I'm thankful that day.
Good for you for getting out of your head and just asking, right?
Yes, that's my number one problem. I'm always in my head, right?
But you being honest about it, and you actually being prepared to, okay, if they say no, I believe in this so much, I'm going to pay for it myself, right? But why not ask the company to pay for it, right? Because you're going to be there promoting them, right? Yes. Not like, and that's what I did like about the summit, was that we were all on equal playing fields. It was educational it doesn't matter if you were on the property management operation side or you were on the supplier partner side.
Right. I think that everyone did a really good job of being very inclusive of both and mindful, right? That, even in the financial class, where to me, I have my CAM, so I understood all of it because I did that for most of my life. But to break it down and make it granular to where someone that maybe has never seen a financial or had to, do a variance.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. I had to take the sheet Betsy's as she explained and, went through that whole, and it wasn't boring like most people might have thought, right? Immediately, but because she gave such great tips and tricks. And
you know what the best part was? To see her excitement about the whole financial part of it. And I think, Stephanie did a great job in choosing the people that were speaking about it because they were actually passionate. I don't think that if somebody went out there and just tried to show us about a financial, it would have been as interesting or as impactful. Because she really was like, oh my gosh, this is the best part. And I was like,
Betsy definitely, but she kept saying that, like, she was like, I love this stuff. And that's the best way to learn from someone like Betsy. Shout out Betsy Marshall. That she's passionate about it. She wants to share her excitement. She wants to educate people. And when you get someone teaching you about those things, that definitely makes a difference.
Right.
Because that excitement, that passion is contagious.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, think about the teachers when you were younger, who really stood out to you. So I agree with you on that one. I think all the sessions were great.
Excel one was awesome with Julie.
Yes, I have that one too.
Oh my gosh,
Julie.
Yeah, she blew my mind. Like the whole time I was like, wow, I didn't even know you could do that in Excel.
And PowerPoint, some of the tips and tricks that she gave us in PowerPoint, right?
Right.
So for those, let me thank, Tammy for jumping on. Thank you very much, Tammy. Yes, Monica, we are #MIS ambassadors, which Monica, you need to come on. I'm putting you on blast. We need to have you on as well. But yes, it was definitely because, one, shout out to Julie Irving from B2G. I don't know what we would have done without her skill set, right? Like, keeping our technology on point, because being on a cruise, you have like my technology did not work. Thank goodness in the conference room it did. But because Stephanie is so proactive, she printed everybody's slides in case we had something that went down.
I have my IBR model over here, which I'm actually going to use today, by the way. I have a Teams meeting with some clients and my team, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to actually do it to make sure that I get what I need from this meeting, because you never know when you have 3 or 4 people from 2 different companies trying to have one conversation, and everybody's like, I'm like squirrel, you know.
Yes.
So to be able to have something that I can start applying to my meetings is awesome.
Yes, well, thank you very much. We were very excited to put that. Well, shout out to Deb for pulling that off. Thanks to my seasickness, I was unable to, but you know, EQ, IQ, that she pulled us through for sure. But like, it is something that is super important, and that is life-changing, right? To be able to start. I wish I would have had those types of skill set. I didn't know that that's what I was doing, you know, by sending a recap in my younger years, but I definitely didn't always take the best notes. So, you know, and getting people to engage on what they were doing so that you were all on the same page. It's important, especially when, you know, miscommunication is one of the number one reasons behind, like, I think EQ IQ has a stat that I don't remember, but it is definitely, you know, failed business deals or relationships is definitely based on failed communication, right? There's some fancy stat out there. So it is something that can be applied, you know, to both your professional world, business wise, as well as your, you know, personal
and think about it. The only thing that makes us different, and you know, between me and anybody else, is how effective can I be when I communicate with my client, and how transparent can I make that relationship, right? Like it all boils down to that. So if I can't, if I don't have tools and support in place to make that happen, then it makes it that much harder.
100%. And that's what a supplier partner is. Not somebody like a vendor, or unfortunately we had a blip where somebody might have said a very mean word about suppliers that I will never ever repeat, but it hurts my feelings as a human and as a supplier partner.
Are you saying the V word, vendor?
Well, I hate the V word. I'm trying to change that, but you must have missed the part where somebody called us a scam artist. I went ahead.
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
But it's okay.
You know, I mean, bubble and any of the negative stuff, I don't even hear it. I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome.
I would be the person to say, really, that person was there? No, I didn't hear them.
Well, that's because you're full of light and love, and I love it. Until someone calls you a Mexican, that might be.
If a friend calls me a Mexican, then there's problems.
That is a conversation we will have to have you back, and maybe Monica, and we'll talk about Latinas and how you should ask.
And how proud we are of our countries. Yes, 100%.
Yes,
we'll be back to that conversation.
My Salvadorian friend.
How funny.
So tell me, what's a pupusa then?
Oh, a pupusa is actually one of like our main food dishes in El Salvador. You can have that for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And it's just like a tortilla patty stuffed with, you know, beans or pork and cheese. You can have one that's like revuelta and it has all of it in there. You can just have just cheese or just beef. Like now they're making some in El Salvador that it's like a pizza one. And it's huge. And so, you know, the bigger the better, I guess.
Yeah, it's like tamales. It's like it, you know, for being from El Paso, I don't think all Mexicans eat tamales. I'm not going to assume, but the Mexicans in El Paso eat a lot of tamales around Thanksgiving and Christmas. It is a thing for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, but we can talk about the different.
And you and Stephanie can make us some tamales. You and Stephanie.
I don't make them. I buy them. You never want to, unless it's my grandmother and she's no longer with us. Or a Mexican that I know, you don't want to eat any tamales I bring you unless it's from someone else.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, just saying. But yeah, so Paulo, did I say this right? Paula. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Well, Monica says that you're her whiskey tango. And thank you, Kirk and Entrada, for sponsoring. We appreciate you. Yes.
Awesome. I was so happy.
Yes. Brad did such a great
there.
Yes, Brad did such a great job
supporting this, and that was awesome to see them show up.
Yeah, it was. You were right. Like, just, we'll circle back to the the whole experience. It was because people who know Stephanie and know her servant's heart and know her passion around training and education, it did kind of throw people off because it was a cruise. For me, it only threw me off because I'd never cruised before, and that's a whole other conversation.
Yes.
But for others that are like, yeah, right, there's really going to be, is this going to be a boondoggle? I'm like, no. Like, why? Like, I know conferences where people thought they were boondoggles, like in Napa, Social Media Summit is not a boondoggle. There's a lot of wine, but there's education. It's possible when the creators of the conference are intentional and passionate about what they're trying to educate others on. I do believe that it is something that's possible. So I'm super honored and excited about being
when I walked into the first class and I saw everyone there, like, I legit, like, my eyes were watery just because I was like, oh my gosh, she really made this happen, and she was very much about the experience, right? How many people would have gone on a cruise had it not been for this summit?
Yeah, there were a lot of non-cruisers. There were a lot of people who'd never been on cruises, right?
Not just never been on a cruise, but had never been out of the US. And that's a big deal. Maybe didn't even have a passport. And, thankfully they were able to use a birth certificate. But how you can expand and grow from something like that, not just professionally, but personally. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's where the return on investment, where she was very intentional for owner operators, supplier partners to get a return on investment from sending their people for this experiential, educational experience. I'm going to say,
right.
Because it's
on a personal level, right? Like, you go out there, you see, oh my gosh, this is really what a boat looks like inside. Like, this is crazy. I'm bringing my family, and then you grow with those experiences. You're able to absorb more and spread more once you're back. So
and there was definitely a lot of, like, the fact that you brought up a good point offline, psychological safety that I don't feel is in my generation or my mom's generation was even something that was talked about, but it's on the forefront now, especially for the next generations coming into our industry. And for all those who don't know what that means you can show up to work with purple hair or tattoos, because in my generation that was a no-no, and they won't judge you about being a computer scientist or being a property manager. That they don't think that you can't do your job just because you have purple hair and tattoos.
Yeah, I think the conversation stemmed from me saying that, the speakers were vulnerable with us and talked about their life experiences, because it was a more private, intimate setting versus, a big summit, right? Like a huge 15, not that we're not going to get there, but
we're going to have 3,000. We're going to take over that boat.
Yes, right. I guess.
3 years.
Right. I try to fix that. You caught it.
I'm putting it in there. 3,000 people to take over the boat. Yeah. Stephanie put it out for 5. I'm saying it's going to happen in 3 because that's how much I believe in what she's
modest. Doing. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. I know. She didn't even want to put it out there when I was like, we can get to 3,000. She's like, I don't know. But because of what she's done and what she's accomplished, like, this was in the making, like, for 3 years. The only reason she did it during the holidays was because she had to get one under the belt,
right,
and work through all there's so many things that people don't realize that happen behind the scenes,
right,
that thanks to her and
perseverance, right? Like, just the fact that this happened after COVID, and after we put one date, and then there was another date, and then it didn't happen then, and it's just being able to say, you know what, it doesn't, and that is exactly how she operates, and I love that about her.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, well, it's not now, let's do it later. Okay, well, it's gonna happen. Like, she's gonna make it happen no matter what.
Because she pivots mindfully. She doesn't dwell on a mistake. She learns from them.
Yeah.
This is just from, I never even worked alongside of her, right? Like I was blessed to work with her, later, contract wise, and just being around, her at HAA. She is, shout out from El Paso. Woo, woo. That's a whole other story. But her coming into being the next HAA president, it is definitely something that she's a great, she just goes with the flow, but she doesn't let mistakes or negative people or negative things that happen.
Flexibility that she has and is able to pivot in an instance, right?
Yeah.
This makes you say, you know
Love
what,
her.
it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to change the date, right?
Yeah, love her. Yes, absolutely. So yes, we're our love fest for Stephanie. We're super excited about next year. What were some of your takeaways before we get too shiny pennied?
So definitely the IBR model, right? With Deborah, she talked about how to make
EQ,
more
IQ.
effective.
Yay.
Yes. From Betsy, I love the fact that she was able to make it like the financial lingo and kind of tell
suppliers why.
Partners, you know what, have this conversation. Ask them how long you're going to hold the property. Maybe I do want to just recommend,
XY. Yeah.
XYZ instead of, ABC. So
yeah.
That, and then Mindy talked about, simple ideas that you can implement for your everyday to grow personally, professionally. If you start with personally, start reading the book, start doing the things, then everything else will snowball
absolutely. 100%. There were so many things and I have to give all of them a shout out because I think everybody did an amazing job. Even from our, our panel that I love that they had.
Awesome.
Yeah, that we had the opportunity to have other people in there, like the supplier partners talking, and asking questions, or them asking us questions, and us being able to respond to the Family Feud like that.
That was awesome too. I was in the winning team. I just want to put that out there. So I thought it was amazing. If anybody has anything else to say about that,
there might be some controversies. We're gonna change some things up. Hopefully,
look, this is what I have to say to the other team.
Don't be starting nothing that's not nice. Jeez. It was people. They definitely get competitive.
Yes, that was. You know what? People were upset seriously about the feud.
I know.
It was an awesome time.
And we will. There were certain things we didn't think through, but you couldn't have known, right? And but thanks to B2G and Julie and her team, like I don't even know what we would do if technology had, she hadn't been there, because she is the technology queen for sure. And that whole ship made me technology challenged as well as sick. So, but point being is that it got me out of my comfort zone, right? And because Stephanie aligned the right people and just flowed with the things that were thrown at her, there were so many things that I didn't even know were happening that Stephanie had to keep her, between her and her, from Christy, the cruise, director that, or travel agent person that helped Stephanie pull it off and pull it on. To Stephanie's team. It just was.
I think we have to give a shout out to Veritas for all of their. For all of their, what was it, like all their
spirit, their
70s night, for
everything they
brought it,
man.
I was like, man.
Yeah. Why did I bring a wig?
Exactly.
Like Brad?
Yes, exactly. So.
Yeah. So if you guys missed it, anyone on here, thank you everyone for joining us. But if anybody missed it, I'm going to throw this up. You can follow Immersion Cruise on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're getting Twitter set up. YouTube is getting set up. If you want to know more about dates next year, it is in September. They're solidifying what, she's taking all the feedback before she announces when in September in 2023 it is. Or just email info@ImmersionCruise, because it's definitely, it's happening next year. And whether I'm asked to be a part of it or not, I will attend. I will just be more prepared with motion sickness issues.
Round two for cruise for you.
Yeah, but it's no different than, like you got to try. Like it was an experience that I'm not totally fluffing out, because it wasn't 100% a crash for me. It just, I shouldn't have anticipated to speak on the first day. That's all.
Right.
Right. Like I should have, there's so many other things. And Stephanie even had a great idea. Keep an eye out for Confessions of a First Time Cruiser, because Stephanie had the wonderful idea.
Oh, that's a good one. I love
like
that.
she labeled it. Because I was rolling around with like, well, if somebody would have matched me up with someone else other than the two people I was with. No, that was my fault. I did it to them.
First time cruisers.
Yeah. I felt bad for my handlers the first day. Shout out to Diana and Deb. Thank you very much for getting me to my room so I could be sick in peace. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. You're very welcome, Paula. Thank you. And hopefully, yes, she says definitely will participate next year.
Yes, absolutely.
Monica, winning team. Oh, I shouldn't have put that one up. I'm not going to put the other one up, but tell folks. I mean, it was some serious, like Houston.
You don't even know what happened after when we left the room.
I don't even want to know. Don't want to know. Want to be left out of that conversation
for sure.
Because I felt the energy afterwards. I mean, just hosting it, there was a lot going on, right? Like
for sure, we were like, all about it. Yes, for sure.
Well, keep your eye out for the video because it will be funny. It was a joy to do that with you all, and Mindy, she did it. She definitely, it was fun. And thank you for Brad and Ryan for being the team captains of the Shiz and what is it, H-Town Hustlers, right?
H-Town Hustlers, that's right. The winning team.
Oh yes, the winning team. But before we wrap up, tell everyone how they can connect with you if they have questions or anything else that they.
Yeah, LinkedIn for sure. I'm always I'm pretty active there, or try to stay for sure. And then my email, marilyn.rivero@firstonsite.com.
Yay! And for anyone else that I'm going to throw this up, there's more information about immersion as well on our bio, this Metro/Industry Live. You can go to this link and as well as put in, you can request to be on the live. There's other information on there, downloadable documents, free resources, all those great things. You can connect with us as well there. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I have to thank you again, Marilyn,
thank you for doing
this again. And you're more than welcome to come back. We do need to speak of our, we need to come on with our Latinas. Monica, shout out. Maybe Carla.
Okay.
Yeah, the Latina vibe. Why never ask Marilyn if she's Mexican? You might get slashed. I'm a half Mexican. You can ask me, but it does insult me when people who say they know you say that you're Mexican, because and that means you never either heard them ask or they don't listen, because you are a proud Salvadorian.
Very much so. Very much so.
And I'm proud to call you my friend. So I appreciate you so much. So thank you everyone for joining us. And until next Tuesday, yes, we will be on next Tuesday. Just stay tuned. It will be Carla and Deb and I coming back. Until next Tuesday, happy holidays, everyone. And keep remembering that Sharon is Karen, and we love you. Have a great one. Bye y'all.